Hey, come see us live. We're doing our Rumble Time show September 27th in Los Angeles. We'll be in Tempe, Arizona, and we'll be in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Well, here's the one thing that just happened. So, they're doing lawfare against Donald Trump. And so they have 91 felonies against Donald Trump. And this is to try to make him not be able to run for president again. They thought if they made him a felon, that he wouldn't be able to run for president. The same thing they did to Bolsonaro in Brazil, right? And they also did their own version of January 6th in Brazil.
Exactly.
People don't know that in the United States. I just found it out. When they banned Twitter in Brazil, I looked into it. I found out that they made it illegal for Bolsonaro to run for president again because they said he did his own version of January 6th.
Yeah.
It's the exact same playbook. And the CIA is running, helping run Brazil, just like they're running the United States. It's the same Western economic hitmen. So this happened. Donald Trump prevails again. Oh, there are? Where? Hang on. Are you kidding? Oh, here it is. Donald Trump prevails again in Georgia criminal case as the judge orders 2 of those charges dismissed. That's real. A Georgia judge has dismissed 2 counts of conspiracy against Donald Trump in the case accusing him of interfering in the state's 2020 election results. Judge Scott McAfee Thursday ruled that 2 of the 10 counts remaining against the former president and the 2024 Republican nominee must be dismissed because they relate to the alleged federal crimes that are outside the state's power. The charges of conspiracy and filing false documents, or counts 15 and 27, were tossed out. The 2 dismissed charges are tied to allegations that Donald Trump and his co-defendants gathered a slate of phony presidential electors and then filed a civil lawsuit in federal court fighting the election result, which contained lies. One of the dismissed charges accused Trump and others of trying to overturn Joe Biden's win in the Peach State by attempting to file a forged certificate of the votes of the votes of the 2020 electors from Georgia, making it look like Trump actually won. One count of criminal attempt to commit filing false documents was also thrown out against Trump allies lawyer John Eastman and Georgia elector Senator Sean Still. McAfee, in another ruling Thursday, said the charges of racketeering against Trump and the rest of the co-defendants could proceed to trial. Racketeering. It always makes it sound like he's screeching around a corner, hanging outside of a 1934 Roadster, holding a Tommy gun and shooting out store windows. Isn't that what it sounds like?
Some Soprano shit.
He's a racketeer. Just listen to that racket.
Yeah.
So 3 other counts against Trump, who was initially hit with 13 charges in the indictment, were previously dismissed. After McCaffrey ruled in March that the counts connected to the defendants allegedly getting Georgia officials to violate their oaths of office were not specific enough. The case has been in limbo while Trump's lawyers ask a state appeals court to boot Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who is the most corrupt and lied under oath right in front of everybody's eyes, from the case because of her admitted affair with special prosecutor Nathan Wade, who was later ousted from the case. Still, and Eastman's cases are not on hold as they aren't party to the appeal over Willis. Arguments in the appeals case are slated for December, meaning the trial will not go forward against Trump until after the November 5th presidential election, when he'll face off against Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, this is another... Mike Benz talked about this, that they have this thing called transitional lawfare.
Yes.
And that's prosecutions. And that, so what they do is after they overthrow a government, the CIA.
But January 6th was
same thing. Now they go in and they tell them, here, you need to prosecute all these people so they'll never be able to get power again. And that's what they're doing to Donald Trump. Like, 10 of his people surrounding him are in prison or been in prison.
But when have we done that in the United States aside from January 6th?
Only Donald Trump, because he wasn't approved by the CIA and the deep state. Every other president we've had was since JFK.
So it's just the coups we perform in other countries so we can take over the world.
Right.
Man, the karma on this country. Woo.
So So everybody we voted for since JFK has been approved by the deep state and the CIA.
Damn.
And
but
so
I know.
You don't really get an election. You get to choose between two candidates who have already been selected. And how do they get selected? They come up through the parties, and the parties do the weaning. And that's why the Democrats have super delegates. Just what I told Bobby when he came on my show the first time. It was a joke. I was laughing at him. I'm saying, they're never going to let you become the nominee. That's why they have super delegates, Bobby. Why do you think they have those? Not so that guys like you can slip through. And of course, they rigged the primary, and he had to eventually leave the Democratic primary.
But the way it was just so obvious. And again, I always go back to how do we get the message out to the public while big media is in charge. Like I know this is the new normal for us, podcasts and underground shows and stuff. But and again, the Rescue the Republic, that's going to be a big event. That's going to be a great event. How do we get liberals there? How do we get them to come over there and wake up with us? How do we save the damn country? How do we get the kids on board?
I still have, when I go out and do my live shows, I still have lots of lefties who show up to the shows. I have lots of people who are hippies, and they say, what happened to the left? They all became authoritarian. They're all for censorship.
But those are the ones that are awake. We need the ones that are still sleeping.
Yeah.
We got to poke them and get them up, and we have to find a way to do it. I care a lot. It's a problem.
I know. It is a problem. I mean, it's got to come through the workers. It's got to come through union leaders. Stuff like that. But the problem is, lots of the union leaders are also co-opted, right? And that Sinn Féin guy, that's what I call him. What's his name? That's not his real name. The UAW guy. There he is. That guy's corrupted.
Yeah. I mean, almost everybody is at this point.
Yeah. But, the head of the Teamsters went for the first time and spoke at the Republican convention, and he's not endorsing any party. And so that, gave me a little bit of hope. I don't know much about that guy, but Bobby Kennedy likes that guy. And I know, if anything, I know Bobby's sincere.
I agree. That's why, I was never endorsing anybody for president. I don't really give a shit about that, really. And maybe I should, but I really just wanted America to hear his voice. So I was doing anything they asked me to do, just to get his voice out there so they can make an informed decision instead of just a vanity vote for, just being the virtue signaling of it all. Stay blue no matter who, just not doing your homework, trusting all the people that are voting blue. And it's like, wait a minute, like you're in a car stopping short, like no, guys, like your kids are walking into oncoming traffic. That's how I feel about what's going on. I feel like all these kids are walking into oncoming traffic.
I've had a lot of people. So we have that Rescue the Republic on September 29th. And I'm speaking at it. I've been invited. Matt Taibbi's going to be there.
Who's a great voice. And if liberals knew he was the voice of Rolling Stone when Rolling Stone was still cool.
Yeah.
And
Colonel McGregor's going to be there, who's very outspoken on the Ukraine war. And he's also outspoken on the Israel-Palestine conflict like I am. And a lot of people are like, hey, there's a lot of those people at that rally are Zionists. And I'm like, yeah, well, this isn't a rally about Palestine. This is a rally about free speech. This is a rally. So you can't, it's the same thing they did with the anti-war rally. So when we had the anti-war rally, the Code Pink wouldn't show up to it because some of the speakers, they didn't like what they had said about, they weren't on board with the LGBTQ movement. I'm like, well, this isn't an LGBTQ event. So you have to be able to work with people who you disagree with. It's like what Frederick Douglass said. I work with anyone to do good and no one to do bad.
Yes.
So if that rally isn't about Israel-Palestine, I'm going to talk about free speech, and I'm going to talk about the free speech of the protesters on college campuses at that rally. And so that's what people should be doing. People should be showing up to that rally and trying to give their speech about it instead of saying, "Oh, yeah, I'd like to save the First Amendment and free speech, the basis of democracy, but not with those people." I mean, they're doing the same thing that Code Pink did to the anti-war. If I don't agree with them on everything, I can't agree with them on anything, which is the opposite of organizing. The foundational principle of actual organizing is being able to work with anybody on anything you agree with. And that's what Fred Hampton showed us. And that's how any successful that's what Christian Smalls worked with Trumpers on Staten Island to organize against Jeff Bezos and Amazon. That you have to be able to work on issues together with people you vehemently disagree with.
Yeah.
I vehemently disagree with people who are Zionists. That doesn't mean that I can't work with them on something else. If they want to help stop the Ukraine war, I'll work with them.
Listen, I live with a man that I disagree with all day long, and we still love each other. You have to be able to.
The things you agree on, you have to be able to come together.
I agree. And Kamala, when I listen to her on, talking about there's more that unites us than divides us, fuck you. You have done nothing but try and drive a fucking stake between every
100%.
single human being on this planet. So don't. Ugh, it just made me wild. And Trump's just sitting there. He's, and he's getting angry. And everyone's like, he's giving the most angry speech. I'm like, I'd be fucking angry too, man. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, he gets repetitious every now and then. He's not a man of many words. He uses a lot of the same words, but
he has the best words.
He reminds me of my dad, man. You know what I mean? And he still has a personal relationship to people when he goes out. I mean, when he shows up to, I don't know, Ohio, Palestine, when the train derailed, nobody else was showing up there. And here he is putting his arm around people and she's out there saying he doesn't care about the people. He only cares about himself. I'm like, really? Because I haven't seen this guy really do. I mean, he might pat himself on the back sometimes, but that's it.
He'll go anywhere for an interview. He went to the Association of Black Journalists in Chicago. He showed up and took those questions from black journalists. You know who didn't? Kamala Harris.
Oh, I know. And a lot of the places he goes to, he knows that there's no media coverage. So the coverage we're seeing is social media posts of regular people posting it.
Hey, come see us live. We're doing our Rumble Time show September 27th in Los Angeles. We'll be in Tempe, Arizona, and we'll be in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.